The harmonic geode, clutched firmly in my hand, pulsed with an almost blinding blue light, casting long, grotesque shadows that danced wildly across the dusty archive shelves. The low hum intensified, evolving into a clear, resonant harmonic tone that vibrated through the very floorboards. Sheriff Brody, his hand still hovering near his holstered weapon, watched the spectacle, his eyes wide with a mixture of suspicion and profound awe. Without warning, the geode's light extended, projecting a shimmering, intricate geometric pattern onto the large, faded map of Havenwood County tacked to the far wall. Delicate lines of blue light traced unseen pathways, revealing a hidden layer of the town's geography, a network that was entirely unfamiliar, yet strangely compelling. Brody and I leaned closer, our shared bewilderment momentarily overriding our previous animosity. The projected lines coalesced, drawing our attention to a single, specific location on the map, the long-abandoned Black Creek Quarry. It glowed with an intensified blue, a clear destination. Then, as abruptly as it began, the light and the harmonic hum ceased, plunging the archive back into year darkness, leaving only the dim, ambient light of the room. The geode in my hand became inert, a dull, ordinary stone once more. In that moment, Sheriff Brody's deep-seated suspicion of me evaporated, replaced by the same bewildered fear that had begun to gnaw at my own resolve. The geode wasn't a weapon or a threat. It was, undeniably, a compass, pointing us towards something far greater than any of us had imagined. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, Brody lowered his hand from his weapon, his gaze meeting mine in a silent, reluctant acknowledgement of our shared predicament. Later, in the quiet of Brody's office, he leaned over his cluttered desk, examining a photo I'd managed to snap of the geode's projection on my phone. The Black Creek Quarry has been officially sealed for 50 years, he stated, his voice heavy with unspoken history. Officially, due to geological instability, but unofficially, whispers always suggested something far more unsettling. This changes everything, Abigail. My grandfather's worn journal lay open on Brody's desk, and I frantically flipped through its brittle pages, searching for any clue that might corroborate our discovery. My fingers froze on a page with a meticulously hand-drawn diagram, an exact match for the geode's projection. Beneath it, in Arthur's familiar looping script, were the words, "The regulator's frequency is drifting, attunement is critical." From the austere window of his office, Mayor Caldwell watched, his stern face grim and unyielding, as Sheriff Brody's cruiser and my own truck pulled away from the station. He understood the implications of their departure. Without hesitation, he turned, his movements precise, and picked up an old, black rotary phone. "They know," he stated into the receiver, his voice low and urgent. "Meet me at the site, immediately." Flashback. A younger Abigail, perhaps 8 years old, watched with wide-eyed fascination as her grandfather, Arthur Thorne, meticulously worked on a smaller, glowing crystalline device, remarkably similar to the geode. Arthur looked up, his kind, curious eyes now serious as he offered a profound warning. "Some things, Abby," he'd said softly, "aren't broken. They're just sleeping. You must never wake them forcefully." The air grew heavy, almost viscous, as Brody and I finally arrived at the entrance to the Black Creek Quarry. It was a desolate, forgotten place, heavily overgrown with tangled vines and ancient, gnarled trees. A rusted, imposing chain hung from a splintered wooden gate, clearly indicating its long-abandoned status. An almost electric charge permeated the still, oppressive atmosphere, a palpable sense of foreboding settling over us. As we ventured deeper into the quarry, the temporal distortion intensified, wrapping around me like an invisible, disorienting shroud. I glanced at my wrist, and my watch's second hand stuttered violently, jumping several seconds forward, then snapping back before repeating the erratic motion. Brody, too, seemed to feel the unsettling shift, his brow furrowing with a mixture of confusion and growing alarm. Following the geode's insistent pull, Sheriff Brody and I navigated the treacherous, overgrown path deeper into the valley. Suddenly, the dense foliage gave way to a sheer rock face, and there, perfectly integrated into the stone, was a colossal circular metal door. It was seamless, without a single hinge or handle, only a complex etched symbol at its center, the very glyph that had pulsed from the geode's projection. A profound sense of awe, mixed with apprehension, washed over us as we realized we had found something ancient and deeply hidden. Sheriff Brody, ever the pragmatist, immediately stepped forward, his broad shoulders tensing as he pushed against the cold metal with all his might. He grunted with effort, his boots finding no purchase on the smooth rock, but the door remained utterly unyielding. "It's like it's part of the mountain itself," he finally conceded, breathing heavily, his frustration evident. The sheer impossibility of moving it by force only deepened the mystery of how it could ever be opened, reinforcing the idea that this was no ordinary entrance. An insistent hum from my hand drew my attention back to the harmonic geode. Guided by a sudden, powerful instinct, I raised the glowing stone towards the symbol on the door. The geode pulsed with renewed intensity, its light brightening, and a low, resonant hum vibrated through my fingers, growing louder. It was a direct response, a clear indication that this was its true purpose. It wasn't just a guide, but the very key needed to unlock Havenwood's deepest secret. As the geode's light intensified, the intricate symbol on the door began to glow in response, mirroring the stone's vibrant energy. Then, with a deep, grinding groan that vibrated through the very ground beneath our feet, the massive circular door slowly began to retract. It slid seamlessly into the rock face, revealing a dark, cavernous space beyond, shrouded in an ancient, earthy scent. A sense of triumph mixed with profound apprehension filled me. We had found the entrance, but what lay within remained an unsettling mystery. Stepping into the cavern, we were met with an astonishing sight. It was a vast, natural chamber, but its true marvel was the colossal, ancient-looking machine dominating its center. It comprised a complex series of interlocking brass rings, each etched with arcane symbols, and massive, faintly glowing crystals embedded within its structure. The entire apparatus hummed with an immense controlled power, a palpable vibration in the air that confirmed this was the very source of Havenwood's temporal anomalies. My grandfather hadn't been chasing a ghost, a whimsical theory, or a mere curiosity. He had been a mechanic, a dedicated engineer, trying to understand and perhaps even fix the very engine that ran Havenwood, the device controlling its temporal flow. The pieces of his research, the seemingly disjointed notes, suddenly clicked into place, revealing a grand, terrifying truth. And now, with the geode, we had just broken into its core, potentially disrupting something far more significant than I could have ever imagined. "That's far enough." Mayor Caldwell's sharp, authoritative voice cut through the low humming of the colossal machine, shattering the quiet reverence of the cavern. He emerged from the deep shadows near the cavern's entrance, his stern face unreadable, flanked by two other town elders, a tall, severe-looking man named Richard and a woman named Elizabeth, whose eyes held a weary knowing. Their unexpected presence immediately escalated the tension, transforming discovery into confrontation. Caldwell gestured dismissively towards the humming machine, his voice laced with a cold authority. This is the temporal anchor. It has kept this valley safe, stable, and hidden for centuries. Your grandfather, Arthur, for all his eccentricities, understood and respected that. You, however, are endangering us all by tampering with it. Give me the tuning fork now. His demand for the geode was absolute, leaving no room for negotiation. Before Abigail could respond, Sheriff Brody stepped forward, positioning himself squarely between her and the mayor. He raised his service weapon, but his aim was visibly uncertain, wavering between Caldwell and the machine. "Caldwell, what is this?" he demanded, his voice strained with disbelief and betrayal. "What have you been hiding from us, from this town?" His loyalty, once unwavering to the town's quiet order, was now visibly fractured, caught between his duty and the shocking truth unfolding before him. As the tension peaked, the colossal temporal anchor suddenly sparked violently, its humming rising to a frantic, high-pitched whine. A visible ripple of distorted energy expanded outwards from the machine, shimmering through the cavern air like heat haze. In the distance, impossibly echoing underground, the Havenwood town clock began to chime 13 times, a discordant, horrifying sound. Simultaneously, the hand on Abigail's wristwatch began to spin backward at an alarming, accelerating speed, signaling a catastrophic and rapidly worsening temporal instability.
Si te gustó el video, pon me gusta, suscríbete y activa la campanita para no perderte la próxima parte.